I am absolutely thrilled to be able to have you meet Lisa, and we will give her an opportunity to introduce herself shortly. But before we do, for those of you that are not entirely aware or maybe don't quite understand some of the changes happening here, Julia, who has been your wonderful leader for, gosh, is it close to 2 years now? I'm not sure, but for a while, 2 years, says Sarah, by showing her fingers up. Will actually be reducing her hours here at the Utah Parent Center, but she will remain with us. So she'll be able to co-lead and co-support a new family-to-family network leader. So you will have two individuals that care deeply about the network, that have a lot of experience through the network and about the network, a lot of historical knowledge. So you get double the dose of wonderful individuals supporting the project. So Julia, if you can still hear us clearly on your phone, if you want to say a few words about your change, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you. And yes, I'm on the phone, as a couple of you, it sounds like, are as well. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We can.
Okay. Thank you. So I apologize for not being there on video. My internet needs a Ghostbuster, and so thank you for letting me be on the phone. And I was able to send out that information last week. Can you tell me how many people are on tonight?
Yes. In fact, let's go over the individuals that are here. Sarah, I think you unmuted yourself. Do you want to just say out the name?
Yeah, so we have 8 people. That's including me, you, Julia, Esperanza, and Lisa. We also have Amy and Sunny and Mandy and Jody.
Awesome. Okay, so I know this was super quick notice from the email that went out after Esperanza, Lisa, and I spoke. We wanted to get some information out about how this was beginning to look like it can work with my reduced hours, again, with things that are happening in my home with my husband. It looks important for me to be able to have a change with work, and yet the importance of y'all are still so tied to my heart, that I'm grateful that I get to keep a toe and a bit of my soul here with doing this really great, fun, and ever so important stuff. And hopefully we're going to clear up a couple questions, maybe give you a couple more to think about. And again, so happy that I get to do a little bit of the planning and the night support with the networks. And then we're going to go over a couple of things about what that possibly is going to mean in this very beginning stages as we delve into who's going to do what and when and how that's going to look for this day-to-day stuff, and kind of take it from there a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia, for sharing those thoughts. So at this time, I would love for Lisa to take a few minutes to introduce herself to you. From what I know of Lisa, and for the time that I've known about her, because she was infamous before she even joined the Utah Parent Center as an employee, again, a couple of years ago as well, I think. She is an incredible, talented parent that does this from the heart. She is, she's brilliant. She comes up with wonderful ideas, and I have appreciated working alongside her on other projects here at the center. So I'll let her introduce her own self to you and share what she would like about her prior experience and anything else she might want to say.
Thank you, Esperanza. No pressure or anything. As you've heard, I'm Lisa Wade, and I have been working at the Utah Parent Center for the last 1.5 years on some various projects, but I have a long history of volunteering with the Parent Center with the Family to Family Networks, and then just attending the Family to Family Network meetings back in the day. I have 4 children. My youngest has autism and intellectual disabilities, and he's 25. My baby is 25, which blows my mind. So for about 20 years, I was going to Family Network meetings, and other parents helped me raise my son and helped lead me down the path that would help him the most. And I was so appreciative of that. And Julia was one of the network leaders down this path. And after a few years, she and I just decided to co-lead the Salt Lake Family to Family Network. And we did that for a handful of years, kind of making a pact that we would, as long as she would do it, I would do it. And then she ended up joining the Parent Center, working with the Family to Family Networks. And of course, I followed her to the Parent Center, working on different projects. But now I'm really excited that she and I can collaborate again. We work well together, and we both are passionate about Family to Family Network, that parents helping parents is a fabulous model for navigating the disability world. So I'm thrilled to be here and for this opportunity, and looking forward to getting to know you better. Some of you I know and some I don't. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Since you say that, you know, some individuals are newer to you, maybe we should just go around and do some quick, brief introductions for those that are here. Let's see, I'm just going to pull up the participant list in front of me. And can I just ask Amy to go ahead and introduce herself?
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm in the Davis County Family to Family Network with Karen Anderson. I just barely started. I think Karen pulled me in like November or something. So I'm still really new, still figuring everything out. And so, yeah, that's me.
Great.
Thank you, Amy. Sunny, can you go next?
I want to know what's for dinner at Sunny's house.
Mac and cheese.
Nice, nice. Favorite
If
here.
it was my choice, I would have put tuna fish or hot dogs in it, but my kids won't touch it. So anyway, I am Sunny. I'm with the Washington County Parent Network and or Family to Family Network. And I kind of got thrown into, kind of got just Ginger West just left and moved, and she told Julia I'd be good, and then COVID hit, and I haven't really been able to do much. I have done a couple you know, like come drop off, pick up your gift kind of a thing, but I'm excited to see what we can do this year. So that's me.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Sunny. Jody? You're muted, Jody.
But we can see your face, which is
Thank
fun.
you. I'm Jody Hanson. I've been with the Utah County Family to Family Network for I don't even know how long. I've been part of the project for about 14 years. So.
Thanks, Jody. And for those of you that are newer, so Amy, I think you mentioned that since November you've been with the Family to Family Network. Jody used to be a parent consultant at the Utah Parent Center for many, many, many years. And she's a very knowledgeable parent and skilled parent as well.
Mhm.
Mandy, would you go next?
She's on a beach.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. It must have been an old setting. So I'm Mandy Kent, and I am one of the co-leaders in the Salt Lake Family to Family Network. And I've been doing it, I think I'm in my second year being a network leader. And I don't know, I'm grateful for the experience. It's been a great thing for me as a parent and as a professional to be able to learn the information that I get through being part of the Family to Family Network, and I'm really grateful for it.
Thank you, Mandy. And that concludes the leaders that are on the call. Of course, we have Lisa and Julia and Sarah and myself from the Utah Parent Center supporting the networks. And I'm the Associate Director at the Utah Parent Center.
Sarah's hand just waved.
So hopefully you're all quite familiar with Sarah and probably have been introduced to her a long time ago. So thank you. That actually brings me to our next point in our agenda, and that is a brief discussion about the communication here at the Utah Parent Center, how it's going to work while we wait for Lisa to join as a more dedicated leader to the network. She's actually wrapping up another project, and after that project wraps up, she'll be able to dedicate more hours to the network. But in between, we have Julia, of course, will be supporting still in the evenings, and you're always welcome to reach out to Julia. But Lisa will be available during our general business hours to answer any questions you leaders might have as you continue to navigate issues with families or run into any feedback you might have or questions. And also, there's still Sarah that who should be able to have conversations with you about any needs regarding events and flyers. And should anything arise that requires additional guidance from the center as a whole, I'll be around as I've been before for any additional conversations regarding future direction, input, just general guidance when it comes to activities, etc., from the center. So does anybody have any questions at this point regarding what these changes are looking like? Any clarification that might be needed? Please let us know at this time.
So Esperanza, can I add something to this point?
You certainly can, Julia. Go ahead.
Okay, maybe while people are thinking of a question at this time, because I remember when I was a leader, I certainly would have had questions about how this was going to be working. And I wanted to add that my plan for supporting the networks in the evening and for planning purposes is to be checking emails daily. And also when we're getting on and starting meetings, that's where my focus is going to continue to be. So looking at the emails coming in from leaders will be my main first scan of when I get onto my emails in the evening. So when I'm looking at things at the end of my day after my other gigs, then that will be my first thing to be looking at, and then getting into starting the meetings for you all will be what I'm planning to be looking for. So please, asking your questions about how we're going to be planning and getting ready, because I know, Sunny, you were saying looking forward to getting things going in this year. We can still do that. And looking at your schedule and how we can do that, we can still be really creative about how that can happen, because that is still going to be my focus, as it has been, working with each of you and planning forward and making sure things are done. Because emails can be looked at whenever, and being creative with each of you is still going to be the hope and the plan for how Lisa and I can collaborate to support each of you. And at this point, that's what my plan is. And, we're stepping into this barely. So just wanted to add that at this point for communication's sake.
Thank you, Julia. Again, your input is always appreciated. So I'm sure that sounds reassuring to our leaders to hear that planning can still happen, creativity can still happen in this transition period. Okay, so in addition to that, there were, or there was an additional piece of information sent to you, and that was a copy of the leader manual. I just want to say that what you received was not necessarily our final PDF, so I'm going to attach the final PDF here. Let me see if I can to our chat, because what you received was my working copy that I have with Julia, which is not going to do you guys any good.
Oops.
Sorry,
I couldn't gain access to it either. It wouldn't let
Yeah,
me.
I know, because it's just a document shared.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
with Julia and me and Natalie.
Also, all of the leaders did receive a physical copy of the manual. So
Of course, yes, I'm aware. And during our last group capacity building activity, we went through the manual itself. So for those of you that were not were there any of you that were not part of that activity? Was it before November? My goodness, I can't remember. Amy?
I was
Amy
there
was
for it. I
there.
was brand new. It was like my
Yeah.
first week. So
Oh,
I was
okay.
there for that meeting.
Okay, good. I'm glad. So let me see if I can quickly attach it. So were there any particular points that you wanted to address on that, Julia, while I look for the digital document that they can have?
So I think the thing to review at this point that I was looking to go over again was the expectations of the leaders. And we went over it in that training, and this might be for Lisa, because Lisa is the one who was not at that training
Not at the meeting.
back in November. Yeah. So this might be for Lisa. That's awesome, right? It's good to have Lisa up to speed. So there is on page 7, and if anybody has their actual paper copy, I love paper. I know, that's me. So there is the general guidelines of looking what we can do as leaders and getting things out for families, because that is still the focus. And one of those things that we went over, even at that point, was talking about workshops and events and doing a combination of both of them, and the importance of doing that, because the goal of the networks is getting information out to families about things that are important to them and for them about division of services for people with disabilities, and then so much more in both of those arenas. So an event is right now drive-throughs. Most people have been doing those drive-through events that Sunny mentioned, and then also workshops, which right now is Zoom. But we also have conversations about what does this look like in the future. And we may have information about what this possibly can look like in different parts of our state from Esperanza and our Joey, our executive director.
I think we know what you're thinking.
Yes, so that was one of those things I wanted to go over, unless that is another point on the agenda, which of course I can't see right now.
Yes.
So
it is a point on the agenda, so we will definitely address that.
Okay, but that was one of those things with that on page 7 of the leader manual, going over those expectations. These are things that when we talked about it in November during the training, everyone was like, oh, this is so what we do. And the workshops and events, doing a combination of that to make sure we're getting the needs of all people in as many parts of our state as we can. Because some people need the information and some people need that one-on-one, look into my eyes, we know that you're here, and doing that in as many parts in our state as we can, I think is how we're going to get the needs met in our state. in this arena as Family to Family Network. So that was the main point I wanted to review with leaders at this time, especially as we're planning again with you all and going over just who's doing what and when and how. That was my main point at that point. And I see that Esperanza has sent something out. Thank you so much, Esperanza.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. I was just going to say that I emailed everyone the PDF and I'm actually projecting it onto the screen now, Julia. So
okay.
we have
We're looking at page 7.
Section 3 on
Yeah.
page 7 with those
Yes.
individual expectations on there. And I think you were specifically referring to 6 as well regarding the educational workshops, the mentoring families one-on-one, sending out pertinent information, doing awareness activities, collaborating with other organizations and agencies, and also participating on local activities of relevance. So that is absolutely available now to you digitally as well as in hard copy. And I am such a fan of having a hard copy of a book as well. I love being able to highlight and just put sticky notes on things and be able to look back and feel it and flip back and forth quickly. So I absolutely can understand the thrill of having this in hard copy. So thank you for that reminder, Julia. And if any of you should ever have any questions about anything on the manual, please, please, please don't hesitate to ask. Lisa, Julia, Sarah, and myself are happy to answer any questions.
And with that, are there questions for those who are here tonight on those 2 points, especially that when we had this leader, we had 16 of our 19 leaders available for that conversation, and it felt like a really good fit for what is happening so many times, and often with how you all, like, it's the mojo of what is happening. So are there any questions or thoughts about those pieces tonight?
We have had 2 more individuals join us, Julia. While you're over the phone, we have Laura with us and we have Tracy Brown as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, for those of you that have just joined in, we were just discussing our leader manual. We went over some of the changes earlier today. Lisa had an opportunity to introduce herself, and just to reiterate some points that were made, there will be a way to communicate with Julia over email that she'll be able to check in the evenings. Lisa can definitely communicate with all of you during regular business hours throughout the day if you need to have a conversation with a network leader. She's available to you. And should you have any questions about issues that might arise, Sarah and I are available as well. So that is what we've covered so far. And if there are no questions regarding the leader manual and some of those expectations written on there, or supports that we have on there, activity guidance, etc., we'll just go on to our next item on the list. And that is a discussion about having in-person activities currently. So as you're all aware, yes, as you're all aware, during the pandemic, we ceased from having any in-person activities through the network. As time has gone on and as we've gotten more savvy about doing things, and by the way, I credit the network with being incredibly creative and coming up with those drive-throughs and having an opportunity for families to be able to experience something that's not virtual, that's of meaning to them. And knowing that we've been able to safely do some activities out there in the world, physical activities, we can definitely see on our end as a center that we'd be happy that if safety guidelines are followed for your own regions, and we know that's going to vary from region to region in our state. If safety guidelines are followed through your own health departments, we'd be happy to support and advertise any in-person events. So as long as your own local, regional guidelines are being followed, and I think we're not going to have any concerns on your end, because just like us, you want to keep our families safe, then we can go ahead and plan for those activities. So any questions, thoughts, worries about that bit of news? Now, this doesn't mean that going forward you have to plan something in person, but if you should have an idea or a collaboration that you believe needs to happen in person for your families, then those would be the expectations. Of course, you're all welcome to continue doing online activities. Any thoughts at all?
So we have our Easter event on the calendar. That would probably, I think, be our first in-person try. And I think we just kind of are in the mindset of, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it looks, how the numbers are, and hopefully go forward. And if not, we'll probably turn it into a drive-through or something similar to like what we did for Halloween.
Thank you, Tracy. I think the key in what you've said is that you're willing to be flexible, right? If the situation changes, you're willing to adjust, and we're right there with you. So I think that's wonderful. We're definitely looking to you and see what your experience is like as well. And we hope that it's as successful as we all imagine it to be. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, or, oh, did you want to say something, Julia?
Yeah, this is Julia. That is the event that we've had other questions about in rural parts of the state as well. So I believe this is going to be a bit of news that others will be appreciative of, for the ability to look within their part of the state with guidelines that are given to them from health department, being that piece that we look at with them, right? What is health department saying in each part of the state along, so with events, and does this also include workshops as well? So we've been doing all workshops by Zoom. Would this include, if people are able to stay 6 feet apart, like again with health department recommendations, would that include that as well? So large events and workshops, are we saying to both that we could be looking at in person?
Absolutely. So the activity itself isn't quite what would dictate whether it happens in person or not. I think activities of the network can happen in person. I think that's what we can say. Activities of the network can happen in person as long as we're following guidelines.
Thank you. I wanted to just make sure that's clear when this is going out for our leaders, that depending on, again, the guidelines set up by health department and what that activity is, event, workshop, as defined, that we have it. Again, we have those things set up. It's awesome that we have our leader manual ready to go, that we can look at that for our basic understanding. So thanks for that. Awesome.
Absolutely. That being said, of course, indoor activities are probably going to have different guidelines from outdoor activities, etc. So, just be sensible about what you're planning and looking at the guidelines that actually match, the venue and the experience that we're offering families.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, we are just zipping through our agenda. I do have an item here, Easter egg basket information. I think we did go over whatever we probably had to discuss on that end, unless there's more that I'm not aware of that Julia or Lisa you want to discuss.
Lisa, I'm going to let you take this one. And do you have a screen to share?
Trying to think where I have filed that little puppy away.
It's the one with Discovery Toys, Esperanza.
Right.
Oh, I see. Yes. I see.
So basically, we have a vendor who has, or a partner of the Parent Center, Discovery Toys, that has kindly offered to provide an Easter basket for Family Network leaders for your child. And I think that's been expanded to your children if they're siblings at home. Correct me if I'm saying any of this wrong. But it is a time-sensitive thing where they would like to collect some information on the child. And we have a Google form with that information on it. And also for your kids. And let me see if I can find where I put it. And I can share it with you. Da, 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 da.
Thank you, Lisa. As she looks for that, so they were looking for a group to support, basically, and just, you know, give their goodwill to. And we thought the network was just the right place because all of you are just so giving, and you are always thinking of other families. And we think this is a good way to honor the work that you do. So we're super excited that this partner has offered this opportunity, and the network leaders can benefit from this.
Sarah, can you give me screen sharing, or Esperanza, someone?
I can't give it to you for some reason. I don't know why. Esperanza, can you? Okay, thank you.
I can and I have. Go ahead, Lisa.
Awesome. Now I've got to find it. There it is. So this is a Google sheet, and they're asking for the child's first and last name, their age, their gender, any allergies, and any special accommodations. And then we have included on it parent information, which would be you as network leaders. So this sheet would be shared with network leaders, and then we would share it with the person at Discovery Toys to be able to compile Easter baskets with it. So we would need you to feel okay about us collecting that information and sharing that information. But it's a time-sensitive thing. As I said, she wanted the information in the next couple of weeks. And they're hoping to do about up to 40 baskets. I don't know how many kids we're going to end up having. If it's like my family, all the siblings are adults and living on their own, so they wouldn't need another basket. But some of you might have a whole bunch of littles at home that everyone would want a basket. So we'll have to figure out how that's going to work. But if we send this out, as I said, and share the document with you, hopefully getting it back in the next week or so would be awesome.
Thank you, Lisa. Any questions at all on this request?
And I guess if you're not comfortable having all that shared with everyone, then you could just send Julia or myself this information and we would share it directly with the Discovery Toys contact.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so I will write up a little something to explain it and we will get this shared out. Maybe Sarah, you can help me with that in the next day or so.
I sure can.
Thank you, my dear. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Julia, for everything you've shared. That does bring us to the end of our agenda items on our list. At this point, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the center. Thank you on behalf of families in general throughout our state. And we are so glad and thrilled to have your support in everything you're doing for families, and you know, have the ability to expand reach so that we're reaching different corners of the state. So I suppose, unless anybody has any additional questions, we could just take a minute or so to see if anybody has anything else they want to share or bring up before we end our meeting.
Esperanza.
Yes.
I'm wondering if the two who joined, if Laura and Tracy could also introduce themselves so that they are also able to let Lisa know who they are. Tracy is a fairly new leader as well, so that, and then Lisa can let her give a little introduction to them, to those two as well, just to make sure that final introduction is made. Would that be all right?
Certainly, absolutely.
And
Laura,
then
since you joined us first, maybe you can go first. I'm sorry, somebody was saying something. And then maybe Tracy.
Yep. And then after that, Sunny had something she wanted to say also.
Thank you.
Well, Lisa and I know each other, but I'm Laura Merdo. Yeah, we go back a while because I've been around a while, so is she. I'm the Cache County Network Leader and have been for a while. I don't know how long. We haven't been doing anything since COVID hit because I've had a lot of life happening. I do hope to get an Easter drive-through event arranged, and yeah, I think that'll happen, and then we'll see what else from there. We'll see how it goes.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, I'm Tracy Brown, and Lisa and I have had a little interaction. And I co-host the Utah County Network. So I feel like I'm just barely getting my feet on the ground and figuring things out, and it's going to be fun.
It is fun.
Thank you, Tracy. Lisa, I suppose back to you.
Well, Sunny had her.
I was just thinking, as I was sitting here doing dishes, I just kind of had this epiphany. I think what I'm going to do, and maybe this is a suggestion to other network leaders, is I'm just going to reach out through Facebook direct message, because a lot of the people don't know me yet. So I'm just going to reach out individually, maybe just do like 2 people a day, whatever time you can take. I'm a super busy woman, but maybe if like we could just take like 2 people a day in our Facebook groups and just say, hey, I'm Sunny. I'm the Family to Family Network Leader here in Washington County. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm so happy you're in our group. You know, how can you be assisted, or what could we do for you? What do you need? You know, things like that, something like that. Can we come up with like a message like that to send out, or do we just do it ourselves?
I love it. And if you need help or want some help coming up with something, we can help you with that. Absolutely. But I think that's a great idea.
Okay. I just wondered if like, I'm good to say that as, hey, I'm Sunny. This is the, you know, okay. Okay.
Absolutely. Got the thumbs up from Sarah. So there you go.
You know, and I like that brainstorming. That's some of the things that we could do on the leadership page of, this is how I'm reaching out to my group. Here's the way that it was received, or here's what I heard back from somebody. I really like that. That's great, Sunny, because people don't know who the leaders are. We say you're a leader, or you say you're the leader, but so then what? So what can we do about that? I really like that. That's a great that's a great piece to in your community, to say, here's a piece about me, and then people will share a piece back. That's great innovation, especially at this time when we can't always meet in person. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, it's a great way to make those connections.
Cool.
Excellent. Does anybody have anything else they want to share? Okay. Well, I suppose at this time we will call our meeting concluded. Thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
And just know you will be supported. There's lots of support. We're not, you're just. Take care.
Bye.
Good night.
You'll hear from us. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, girls.